All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to take some time to go through how to set up our body paragraphs for our debate essay. Now, we are a little bit behind because we had our ad pitches, but your ad pitches were awesome. And it's totally okay that we're just a little bit behind, but we're going to need to take some time to get caught up. So, there are a couple of things I'm going to be going over with you in this video. First is how to set up your first 2 body paragraphs of your debate essay, which are going to be over your first 2 subtopics. And then I'm going to go through with you how to set up your 3rd body paragraph, which is going to be your counter argument, where you are going to be addressing your partner or opponent's claim. So the first part of this is just kind of going through what your body paragraphs are going to look like for your debate essay. Now, you need to have at least 3 body paragraphs in your debate essay. Body paragraph 1 is going to correspond to your first subtopic. Body paragraph 2 is going to correspond to your second subtopic. And body paragraph 3 is going to be your counter argument, where you are addressing your opponent's issue. So the one thing that you need to know about your body paragraphs is that's where all of your research information is going to go. We generally do not put facts in our introduction outside of a hook, and we don't introduce any new information or facts in a conclusion. So your body paragraphs, that's the bulk of your essay. That's where all of your research and textual evidence is going to go. This diagram just shows you how your subtopics get translated into body paragraphs. So every time you have a subtopic in your introduction, whatever your first subtopic is that you mention always gets translated into body paragraph 1. Whatever your second subtopic is, that always gets translated into body paragraph 2. So each subtopic that's mentioned in the introduction gets its own paragraph in the body section. So when you are writing your body paragraphs, you're going to approach them a little bit differently depending on the body paragraph that you're writing. If you're writing body paragraphs 1 and 2, you are just going to follow the tee-up paragraph format. So in body paragraphs 1 and 2, that's where you're addressing your first subtopics. So let's say you're working on body paragraph 1 and you're addressing subtopic 1. You're going to want to start by first giving a topic sentence where you're introducing to your reader what the topic of that paragraph is. Once you have your topic sentence and you've addressed what that subtopic is, then you're going to want to go into that specific example. Now, you might be giving more than one example. You have a whole wide range of research that you've done over your topic, and that research is very extensive. So that example section might be really long. You might be giving a lot of facts. You might be providing a lot of data. You might have more than one specific example that supports your subtopic, and it's supposed to be that way. So all that research information falls under that example section. All of your research, those are your examples that are supporting your topic sentence or your subtopic. Now, where things get a little bit different is that when you give that textual evidence and you give that quotation from a source or from an article that you read or from an expert, you are actually having a quotation that supports all of your examples, that goes along with your whole general subtopic for that paragraph. So after you've given all that research, you're going to give that quotation, and always remember that you have to follow up that quotation or evidence with a 2-sentence minimum explanation. After you've given that, you can unite your points, summarize that main point or goal of that paragraph in a concluding sentence. So this is an example body paragraph, and it kind of gives you an idea of how you can set up your paragraphs for your debate essay. In red, you'll see the topic sentence that is there. Note that the topic sentence is still very specific. There's still that word because in there. It's still addressing why that particular topic is important and how it helps to support the stance of the overall essay. So here in this topic sentence, I've stated it is essential that people eat healthy because it can help to reduce the prevalence of illnesses in people's lives. that subtopic needs to be clearly stated within that topic sentence. So still make sure that going forward you have specific topic sentences. Then in blue, you can see the example. In green, you can see the evidence followed by the explanation. And then in orange, you can see where I've united the points in a concluding sentence. Now, this example is just to show you how you can set up those body paragraphs to give you a brief idea as to what it will look like. But since you are dealing with so much more research with your debate essays, you might find that your paragraphs are a little bit longer, but hopefully this does give you an idea as to what those should look like. Now, once you have body paragraphs 1 and 2 done, you are going to move on to something called the counter argument. When you've written body paragraphs 1 and 2, you're simply just addressing your side of the argument. Body paragraph 3 is specifically there to address your opponent's issue. And the reason that we want to address our opponent's issue is because it is important to acknowledge the other side, to show that you are knowledgeable about the other side. And once you acknowledge the other side, you can then say, yes, I understand that the other side is important. However, my side is still the most important, and here's why. So it almost allows you to make that comparison. And you are showing the audience that you are knowledgeable about both issues. And because you are knowledgeable about both issues, you are then able to determine that your issue is still the most important. Now, when you have your counter argument, it is only going to be addressed in that singular paragraph for body paragraph 3. And your goal is to acknowledge the other side, but at the very end of that paragraph, you're always going to want to say how your argument is still the stronger of the two. So yes, you're acknowledging the other side, but your argument is still stronger. And that's the goal of that counter argument paragraph, to really show not only do you know about the other side, but you can use the other side to show how your argument is still stronger and better overall. So this slide is going to show you how to set up your counter argument paragraph. Like any paragraph that you write, you're going to want to start with a topic sentence. In your topic sentence for your counter argument, your goal is to show your reader that you're going to be talking about the other side of the argument. Once you've given your topic sentence, you are then going to provide background information on your opponent's side of the argument, and you are going to state why you believe that side is also important. Once you've done that, you're then going to want to go back and explain why your issue is still more important. Why even after addressing the other side, you still believe that your issue is the most important issue that is affecting Americans. Then, after you've addressed why your issue is still more important, you're then going to want to give an additional piece of evidence. That means you're going to want to cite another direct quotation from a source to show once again that your issue is truly more important. In your counter, when you're giving evidence and you're explaining why your issue is more important, you're going to want to mention something new, something different than what was already previously mentioned in body paragraphs 1 and body paragraphs 2. So it's almost like you're reaffirming your argument in your case by presenting the reader with a new piece of information to once again show why your issue is the most important. Don't forget that anytime you give a quotation, you do need to follow it up with a minimum of a 2-sentence explanation of that evidence. And as always, end your paragraph with uniting your points in a concluding sentence. So the best way to think of the counter-argument paragraph is yes, but. Yes, you are acknowledging the other side, but your argument is still the most important. So always approach your counter-argument that way, that you have to acknowledge the other side, but your goal is to still show how even when you compare the two issues, that yours is still more important. Alright guys, so here's the last slide. Thanks for hanging in there with me. This slide is probably one of the most important ones because it gives you that example of the counter argument. The counter argument starts off with that topic sentence. Now, in this topic sentence, you're going to notice that there are two things that are done. One is that this topic sentence addresses, first and foremost, the original argument. It starts off with saying eating healthy is very important. That's the original argument in this essay. Then it acknowledges the other side by saying, however, there are some people who may feel that it is acceptable to indulge in unhealthy meals. You want to have a topic sentence that addresses both sides so that your reader knows that in that paragraph, you're going to be addressing both sides as well. Now, in red, you're going to see that that's the actual counter, where you're giving that background information over the other side, where you are acknowledging that you know about the other side and that you are recognizing its importance. Once you have acknowledged the other side, then you're going to start to transition back into your argument. So this one says, in the transition part in orange, although not adhering to a diet can be enjoyable, it is imperative that people follow a healthy diet anyway. So that sentence there acts as that transition. You've acknowledged the other side. You're saying, yes, I've acknowledged it, but now I'm going to go back and show how my argument is better. Then once you've transitioned over, you're going to give that textual evidence. You're going to reiterate why your argument is stronger than your opponent's, and you're going to do that through a direct quotation from a source. Then after that quotation, you have to have your explanation, and then unite your points in a concluding sentence.